Hey everybody, this is Olga with AskYourSoul.org, and today I wanted to talk about affirmations. What to do, what not to do, and what's worked for me personally. So I think I've mentioned before that a lot of the videos on manifestation that I've seen talk about affirmations and how literally all you have to do is affirm. What I think is that affirmations are super, super, super important. Because basically what we're trying to do with affirmations is rewire our pattern of thinking. And at first they might feel unnatural, and that's totally fine. But eventually, like in the best case scenario, those affirmations are going to actually become our thoughts. And as you know, thoughts create. So that's kind of like the basis of this idea of affirmations. Basically, we're trying to rebuild our pattern of thinking that we've had for years and years and years, and it hasn't been working for us. So here we are, right? Better later than never, though. And if you really think about it, usually those negative thoughts that we have, they're either an expectation of some shit to happen, or they are kind of like a mental affirmation of negative stuff, right? So it is an affirmation, just a really negative one. Like if you see someone, your significant other or whoever, do something that you hate, you're like, oh, he always does that. What did you just do? You like totally reaffirmed that he's always doing it. So yeah, so I just want you to think about affirmations, as weird as it might seem at first, to affirm something that you don't really see in your 3D and you don't like 100% believe yet. This is exactly, this is our destination basically. Like we're slowly or quickly, depending on your self-concept, are getting to that destination that we want to be at. Okay, so the number one thing to do is to phrase them in a way where it's happening right now. So I have, I do, I am. I am is like huge, right? And especially if you're Neville Goddard, you will know that I am is something that he emphasizes a lot in his teachings as well, because basically how you define yourself, what you say after the words I am, truly defines your experience. So I am happy, I am loved, I am excited, I am so fascinated, I have everything I need, I have exactly what I want, I have, you know, specifically whatever the heck you want to have. And the reason why it's so important to focus on something like positive that you actually have, do, and are, is because when we repeat this to ourselves, we are also programming our subconscious mind. And basically our subconscious mind is the mechanism through which our reality is created. Because whatever you believe in your subconscious mind, deep inside, this is what ends up coming true. So you don't want to be focusing on the problem, okay? You don't want to be affirming or reaffirming that I don't have this, I won't get there, this is too hard, oh my God, like why am I even doing this? Because the more you do it, eventually, just by the power of repetition, your subconscious mind absorbs all that information and it starts to play it back, basically, and you see it reflect in your world. Nobody knows like 100% how it works, okay? So I'm not gonna claim that I do know exactly how it works, but at the end of the day, we do know that repetition is key when it comes to changing your subconscious mind and therefore changing your reality. So again, the important thing is focusing on the solution as if you already have it. Here's the next question that naturally comes to mind. What if I totally don't believe what I'm saying? So like, you know, if you're just gonna sit there and affirm, I have $1 million, I have $1 million, I have $1 million. Here's the thing, it might actually still work, it might, depending on your, once again, self-concept, and I'll have to talk about this more later. But usually, and most of the time, because you know deep inside that that's not true, you just know that that's not true. And it's really hard for you to fathom having $1 million just like that. You automatically, like by saying that you have it, you kind of create resistance towards having it. So that's the crappy part, okay? So still, that's not to say that it's impossible. I just want to clarify that because I feel like we have so many self-limiting thoughts, so many self-limiting beliefs, and I do not want any of those to be like in your head. So it's still possible. The question is though, Do you truly believe that it is possible for you? And I've also heard some coaches say that you don't have to believe the affirmation, it's not a big deal. I see where they're coming from, and it might not always be necessary to believe 100%, but I just think that if you don't believe it like at all, then it's probably going to take longer. So again, sorry for the self-limiting beliefs, but it's probably going to take longer to materialize, literally just because you're not believing it as much as you could be. So my solution to that is to start small, okay? Like if you don't believe that you can make $1 million a year, focus on affirming that you are making, let's say, $1,000 a week or something. Whatever feels believable to you. Let me just make that clear also, not just making $1,000 a week, because you could be literally working at a job that you absolutely hate making that money, and that would suck, okay? But if you affirm that, okay, I'm making $1,000 a week doing something I absolutely love, and this is so fun, and you like really start to get into that state of like, yes, this is finally happening, and I've been waiting for this, and this is exciting, you know, and you don't have to get like happy and whatever, but it's just more about the feeling of having faith that it's possible, if that makes sense. So yeah, in my opinion, honestly, it's always better to start off small, where you can kind of allow the idea of that happening into your life. Like you're kind of open to it. You're like, okay, maybe it's not totally impossible, you know, to do this, to have this. And once you start seeing some exciting changes in your reality, that's when you can start affirming for more, because naturally you're gonna get more confident as you start seeing those little payoffs from your affirmations and other techniques that you're using. So the reason why I feel affirmations are important is because affirmations are essentially our thoughts, you know, and we are thinking thousands and thousands of thoughts a day. So the next thing I want to say coming from that is, if you are affirming for a few minutes a day, let's say, for whatever you want, this is like, it's a really good start, but it's not enough. I feel like it's really not enough. This is something, since we do have thoughts thousands of times a day, it's super important to make those affirmations become something that we're naturally thinking, something that substitutes our negative thoughts that we had before. And one of the best ways to do that, and one of the easiest ways to do that, is definitely to listen to affirmation audio at night when you're sleeping, because when you're sleeping, your subconscious mind is wide open, right? So your conscious mind is the one who governs the subconscious mind, and it's basically controlling every step of the way. And it's like, okay, no, don't do this, don't do that. Like it's very controlling, and it's kind of guarding your subconscious mind, which is a good mechanism, to be honest. Like you don't want any crap in your subconscious mind, right? But when you're asleep, literally, even though you are asleep and you're not consciously hearing it, it's still coming into your awareness. It's still coming into your subconscious mind as you're sleeping, as you're dreaming, and it can really have like a huge benefit. So this is something that you're interested in. I highly recommend you check out those affirmation audios on YouTube, which there are a lot of, and I'm actually working on a few different ones myself, and I already have a self-concept one, which I'm gonna link below. Another amazing affirmation audio is by Dylan James, which, by the way, if you haven't seen his videos, definitely check him out. He is such a great inspiration. He just amazing. Honestly, you're gonna love him if you're into manifestation stuff. And he's like, you know, he just explains it exactly as it is, and he just seems like he's like a really sweet person, and I just love his personality, the way that it shines through YouTube, you know what I mean? So definitely check out. He actually has quite a few of affirmation audios, which I used to listen to myself and definitely benefited from. And then I just created them myself because I'm a singer and I can record, and I decided, what the hell, why not? I can just try to do this. And also, here's the thing though, the more personal affirmations are, the better they're gonna work, because you're kind of getting your subconscious mind to trust the source. And it's really important for you, before you listen to any of those affirmation audios at all, to feel like, okay, this is someone that I trust enough to actually allow this information to get into my mind during sleep. Because if somewhere deep inside you're like, no, I don't think this is right? Like this feels weird, and like the affirmations themselves like are just not at all what I want, then there is no point of listening to them. You know what I mean? It's probably not going to do you much harm, but it's probably not going to do you much good either. So just make sure that you're really trusting the source from where those affirmations come from. But again, this is honestly one of the easiest ways to start changing your reality and to start manifesting. Okay, another tip for affirmations. Some people say that it's a good idea to be like as specific as you can possibly be about affirmations. And again, I want you to keep an open mind about this, because if you feel like being specific about an affirmation just doesn't feel right, like I really want you to tune into how you feel about it, period. Whatever you do, whether it's even affirmations or anything else in life. But to me personally, it doesn't feel like being super specific is a good idea, because I feel like I'm limiting myself. I'm limiting my experience this way. And instead, I like to focus on setting kind of like the minimal expectation, okay, that I have from this affirmation. So for example, I would say something like, I'm so excited and I'm so glad that I'm finally making over this amount of dollars per month or per year, whatever. So this way I'm not saying, okay, I'm really glad I'm making exactly like $5,000. I'm not, no, I'm saying I'm making at least that, you know? So that just kind of keeps it open to more stuff coming in. Like, why not, right? So that's kind of something that I encourage you to consider when creating your own affirmations. And by the way, all of the stuff that I'm saying, I also have in my affirmation worksheets, and I'm also going to put the link down below. I kind of go through each one of these pretty quickly, and it's just a good reminder to have, you know, if you're actually creating affirmations, like especially at the beginning when you're getting used to this process. So like I usually just do it as a, like I set a limit that is the minimum that I would expect. Okay, that's it. That's basically what I do. Or like with weight, for example, if you're trying to manifest weight loss, you can say something like, I'm so happy that I'm losing at least like 5 pounds or 10 pounds a month or something. Just whatever feels natural, whatever feels right to you. And sometimes it's still good to define like an ideal. So for example, like if you have an ideal weight in mind, it's really good to define it. But if that feels too restraining, which sometimes it does to me, you can affirm something like, I am at my healthiest weight. I'm at my healthiest weight. I am fit. I feel amazing. I feel so good. And like every time I look at myself in the mirror, I love what I see. You see what I'm saying? So like, it doesn't necessarily have to be specific unless you absolutely want it to be. But again, I just feel like that's too limiting for me personally. So up to you. Okay, another thing is, do you have to visualize when you're affirming? You don't necessarily have to visualize. I feel like that's a different technique altogether, because affirming is basically our thoughts. But then again, we also like imagine thoughts, right? At least I think most of us imagine thoughts. Not totally sure about that though. I guess that really depends on the person. But adding in visualizations to that can be super, super helpful, and it would be just even more effective than just affirming. But if that's something that you don't feel comfortable with and it's something that just is difficult for you, you don't have to. Honestly, affirming in itself is an amazing thing that could just work alone without any other techniques, as long as you are very, very, very persistent. So as long as you make sure that you do it every day, as long as hopefully you're listening at night to those audios with affirmations that you actually want in your life, to see in your life, as long as you're constantly doing this, I think it could honestly be enough. But if you want to like supercharge your manifestations, then yeah, of course you can also use visualizations, you can use SATs, state akin to sleep, you can use like congratulatory conversations. Anyway, I should create like a whole separate video just on those specific methods, because they're also super helpful. Like for me personally, I feel like SATs is one of my favorite things to do. Honestly, it just feels so good, and I feel like it really affects your quality of sleep. It affects the next day. It just like it really creates a big difference for me personally. Okay, and lastly, I just also wanted to mention that usually, from my experience, the best affirmations are the shorter ones. So instead of saying those long drawn out, like blah 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 blah, I'm so grateful for this and that, because this, like, it's just too much, and we tend to forget them, we tend to get distracted or like confuse them or whatever, you know what I mean? So honestly, again, it's up to you, it's a personal choice, of course, but I feel like creating shorter manifestations are way easier and better long term than creating like really long ones. I actually have quite a few affirmation examples in my affirmation worksheets, once again. But so, like, for example, I'm just reading from there. My health is better than it's ever been. I am healthy, happy, and fit. I happily give and receive love on a daily basis. I can easily afford anything I want and need, etc. You know what I mean? So just something like that, that's easy for you to remember, and that feels like something you would say. So go off of something that just sounds natural to you personally, because maybe you would never use certain words that are used in the affirmations that you read from someone else. So I definitely encourage you to focus on creating your very own affirmations, to focus on making them feel like it's something that you can actually believe, at least eventually, you know, and something that you truly want in your life. And of course, have fun. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be this like arduous task. It can really be fun. It can be exciting. You can, one of the things that helps me when it comes to affirmations, like to make sure I remember to repeat them, is doing it, for example, when you brush your teeth or when you're taking a shower. So something that you do regularly, and you kind of learn to associate those two things together. So you tie your affirmation, metaphorically speaking, to your toothbrush, okay? And anytime you brush your teeth, then automatically you will start saying affirmations. And it's just great. It can never hurt to say too many, you know what I mean? There is no such thing as too many affirmations. So yeah, I think that about sums it up. Wow, this video turned out to be a little bit longer than I thought, but I really hope you're going to benefit from it, and that you have learned something that you can always use when creating those affirmations. And persist, persist, persist. Okay. I don't know why I do that. It's just so random. But yeah. But point being, affirmations are nothing without you persisting, honestly. Like, no matter how amazing they are, no matter how to the point they are, how realistic, blah blah blah, how much you believe in them, if you only say them like once, you know, in your life, then chances are most of them, or if not all of them, are not going to come true, unless you absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, believe in that affirmation. But if that's not the case, then you have to persist and keep affirming, keep believing, keep affirming, keep persisting. And before you know it, it's gonna materialize. Whatever the heck you want to see in your life, whoever it is that you want in your life. It's all coming in. It's all coming in easily and effortlessly. And that's what I wish for you. All right. Well, that about sums it up. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, it would really mean a lot to me if you could like and even possibly subscribe. That would just be crazy. I would really appreciate it, honestly. And yeah, other than that, have an amazing day or night and have fun manifesting the life of your dreams. Okay, bye.